video.
Okay.
We got it. We're here.
First
We're
one that
live. Hey
started.
there, everybody. Okay, we had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're here. We're here using Google Meet. Me and Ben are just chatting it up, having fun trying to troubleshoot. Okay, we're here. Let's start it. It's official. Okay,
What's
Mavis,
up,
I think you're the
everybody?
only one online at the moment. Yay for Mavis. No, she's our
Well,
first person.
I mean, I
Okay, we
hope
got
she
Round Brush
enjoyed it.
Steve.
I hope she enjoyed it.
Okay,
Glad
we
you
got
guys can
people
make it
showing up.
around the corner and join us here. Sorry for the walk around the block. But,
Yeah.
this is how we keep it elite. This
That's
is
it. Yeah, we're
like
not trying to go big.
status.
Don't
We're upping your
don't
guys'
subscribe.
status.
Don't do that.
We don't want it, we definitely don't want something that just anybody could be a part of. We want it to be like exclusive.
Yeah, you
Stay
gotta
out
keep it
except
small.
for the chosen few. That's
That's
Mural
it.
Joe for sure.
Yeah, this is what we're working on. No, I'm not going to work on this much. This is my burning bush scene that I've been working on for quite a while. Started this a year ago, I think, and it has a face in it that I've really worked a lot on. So I thought it'd be a good time to just kind of highlight that and show off my
That is
work in
pretty
progress.
awesome. What's up in Romania? We see Raluca, and then Austria, Vienna,
Oh, I see that.
major art. It's
Nice,
probably not how you
nice.
pronounce
This
that, but
this is the fun of live, is botching usernames, looking for all of the fancy
yeah.
usernames that are out there.
And being fashionably late, as Round Brush Steve puts it, that is definitely
Yeah,
the
thank
fun.
you. Sorry, man. Sorry. We were like, you know what happened? There's this ongoing problem where Google logs you out after
Where
so
we're
much
dumb.
time, and
There's this ongoing problem where we're dumb, Joe. That's what the issue is.
this ongoing problem. Look at us. Never mind. That's enough said right there. So the subject.
Yeah, smash that like button, you guys, because we're dumb. That's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
And then these backgrounds, Matic, are not backgrounds. I am in my lab here doing some electrical stuff.
It's real.
Just plugging stuff into stuff, working on fusion, working on
never mind the strange glitchiness on the edges of my form.
Yeah, Joe, he's just Joe's a transient being.
That's it.
Kind of
portals. There is like a middle ground. If you listen to the podcasts on this subject, there's kind of a middle ground that you can get stuck in.
There's definitely a podcast on this subject.
You get stuck. Yeah. So things get a little bit glitchy when you're between realms. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Raluca, we're happy to have you guys catch us live.
How do you like my mug? What? How do you like my mug?
Which mug do you guys like better, my mug or Joe's mug? But I'm gonna. Sorry, I just hit the mic. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and tell you guys I made this mug. I'm artsy too, guys. I painted this mug myself. That's right. Anyways, Joe, what are you doing for us today?
Yeah, we're right at that threshold where people are going to start saying, "Are we going to paint something? Are we going to do? What are we doing today?"
Look, we're just going to waste your time. But Joe, what did you want to do? Some drawing? You painting on that bush? Tell us about that bush. I understand you're trying to make it.
Yeah, we can talk about the bush. I know it's hard to ignore the fire. People really like the effect of fire, including myself.
Fire is beautiful. Look how close up is amazing.
Thanks. This is definitely like it ended up being more of a focal point of the picture than I intended it to be. The fire. What I really wanted was to capture a surprised and worried look on my Moses right there. See, that's Moses. See, and I wanted it to be, in other depictions of this scene. This is just my take on it. Other depictions of this scene. This is the famous scene in the book of Genesis or Exodus. Moses sees a burning bush. It's paranormal. It's supernatural. It's burning. The leaves are not burning. He goes up to explore, and God starts talking to him. And so then, I was thinking, he wouldn't just be relaxed while this was happening. It says that he turned his head and covered his face so that he wouldn't die, because, there was a belief that if you saw God, you would just die on the spot. So he's covering his head in a panic. He's trying to take off his shoes because the voice in the bush just told him to. And so he's it's like a scramble. So I wanted the look of a quick scramble because this is serious. He's trying not to die. He's trying to follow instructions, and his life is being turned upside down while he's being given instructions. So I was like, this isn't like a calm moment. I wanted to capture that look of work. So that's the rundown of my intentions with this. And so I ended up turning it into a flame study, trying to do all the edges and gradients. But this is what I want to spend some time exploring today, is this simple shapes that we threw together in, in this study here, not as much to look at, in this study, we use the simplest, most simplified shapes. And I want to show how you get from that to something more organic and complex. So the simple shapes start dividing into multiple shapes. That's the short explanation, is that you get 1, 2 shapes where that simple cheek, this simple cheek highlight can divide into 2 shapes depending on how mature or how bony the face is or the expression. But you have the upper one and the lower one, and you can just say, oh yeah, that's what happens, because it happens that way every time. It's a pattern that you can memorize, and it's real helpful, is that this shape right here divides into 2 shapes, and you have the lower that would go here and the upper that would go here, and the extreme that you do that will change how bony or how childlike a face might look. So we can have some fun. Oh, it fell and it hit my head. Hang on.
Nice.
It's not heavy.
That's what we came to see. Live entertainment. We were over here talking about Bible verses and stuff, and then Joe just falls apart. You guys don't get that anywhere else.
No, only here on this stage, folks. Yeah. So I want to show how I use that. You can use it to real quick form the face. You can use it to copy faces, get them more lifelike. Watch. This is a fun thing we did a lot in the live classes. All right, Ben. What do you think about that title? Finding the complex. And what did I call that anyway?
Yeah, what are we talking about anyways?
Finding the simple and the complex. I did that for your sake. You're Mr.
It's not anything you're actually interested in. It was just like, oh, here's a bone for my brother to chew on while I paint something.
Yeah. I'm going to exit full screen so we can do a Google search. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I made it sound like it was targeted at you, but I thought it was humorous, as we tend to overdo the philosophy behind these things.
So you're trying to do a Google search.
Okay, you throw a title like Finding the Simple and the Complex.
You're trying to do a
Google
Google
trigger that nerve.
Search on this live stream right now?
Yeah. Let's see. Face. What happens if you Google search the word face? Let's see what happens.
Well, if you wanted to tie these two together, Joe, if you wanted to tie together the finding the simple and the complex, and this business is.
Whoops, my bad. Sorry. Hang on, Ben. We're going to get back to your meeting. Sorry. Join. My bad, guys. That was my bad. I needed to open a new tab. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. Sorry. I totally backed off the same window. That was my bad. We're still here.
Yeah. So what is it that you were painting again, Joe?
Oh, man, that was brutal. I cut you off. I thought I was on a different window. I actually.
Well, Roundbrush Steve is really appreciating our professionalism right now.
Yeah. Human face. All right. Finding the simple in the complex. What do you think of that? That's what we're going to do.
John Kennedy is working on a portrait.
Oh, man, I'd like to see that.
Well, yeah. And there's a link in the description of this video, you guys, where you can, if you're working on anything, you can upload it to that spot there, and we'll pull it up here and have a look. And if you want any specific feedback from Joe, let him know. You want some like
that's it, yeah, we'll do that. Okay, this is we're going to look at a few I'm gonna zoom in on a few faces here. Let's take this very manly face right here. Here's a good one, and we're going to expand this. Look at it. All right, so you can see my basic shapes in here. You can see that. I don't know what to call this shape. It's this. What do you think we should call the cheek shape? It's the cheekbone shape. In this one, it's simple, kind of like my painting. We got a big circle light on the forehead. This man has some beautiful smooth skin, and those shapes are simple and soft. So that's a real good example. But you can see it beginning to separate. See, you see this line that goes here. You can just think of this as a shape where a divide starts to happen along this diagonal line. It's on every face. I mean, you can just find every face and you can routinely look for it, throw it into your painting. When you move fast, it lets your memory keep working for you, doing a better job when you're able to not spend a lot of time trying to dig things up and then forgetting what you were thinking about, kind of like I just did to Ben. You know, fluid changes are real helpful in artwork. Okay, let's look at another one. So here's a good simple one, but let's look at a face where those shapes are starting to separate. Okay, let's find someone that's a little bit bonier. Like, gosh, we could just look at me, but we've spent enough time doing that. Let's find one. I'm noticing that these head-on lighting shots are
we've got some great options here.
Yeah, really good options. Really good options. Yeah. Here's one where it's divided. Look. Here's an interesting face where it's divided. We have 1, 2. See that highlight divides in 2 because of that diagonal line.
I love that lighting on that face too.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Here, let's check that. Let's blow that up bigger. Yeah. Okay, so we can see because of the unique shape of this person, you know, that's starting to divide there into 2 shapes. And, you know, the lighting is a little bit, you were talking about the mood lighting. This one is just slightly down, Ben. I'm noticing, look, see the underside of the nose lit?
Yeah.
They're lighting it a little bit lower. So what's that doing to the mood? What do you think? How would you describe that as a videographer?
Well, you know, they've got two things going on. First, they hit her from the sides with just this real sidey light for like a superhero look.
Yeah.
And to like show the chiseled jawbone, you know. But then they hit her in the front with this real soft light on just like dead center and a little bit under the camera to give her this sort of just rising above sort of a thing. She's above you, right? Because it's like the city lights are below and she's lit from the sides and back like this superhero. So that does so much for this vibe of like powerful and big and strong, you know.
Okay.
Like if you're looking at the details on the underside of a person's face, you are beneath them, right? So it's just the perspective is important.
Yeah. Okay, that's a pretty good breakdown. But it's not real extreme like flashlight under the chin. I just noticed it's just a little of the underside.
Slightly, because you don't want to make it look like freaky fireside story time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Oh, here's a good one. Look at this. Here's a great face. Okay. Okay. Bony face. This guy looks like he could outrun me. And he does not look like he likes it. He's like, don't waste my time. That's the vibe I get from that expression. Don't waste my time. Just trying to stay alive. Okay. Okay, now, this face has the real divided cheekbone. So here's where you see it really divide a lot is when the bones are mature and a face is thin. You see a long skinny line coming down. You see a real high cheekbone, but we can interpret that as that single highlight being divided right through the middle by a diagonal line. That's just a helpful thing. Now here's what you don't see on. I've noticed that it seems like this happens more often with people with dark skin, as opposed to like more of like maybe a European descent. See, there's not a deep crease right here like you see on my face. If I go back to our screen, you can see on me and Ben, you know, the real defined line right here. And so that also divides into 2. So we have this simple separation between this highlight. Well, this goes into 2 shadows, higher shadow, and then right under it, another shadow. And I want to show you how you can put that on a face real quick, and we'll go from simple and less natural to something looking much more natural. You can make a portrait look more beautiful, natural, however you're trying to steer it with this understanding. Okay, so on Ben, you can see it. Sorry, I got to get off of the screen so it'll stop putting that little tack thing right there. Okay, you can see two lines. One's under the other. And now it's doing it on me. We're going to switch to my whiteboard here. Let's do it.
Let's switch it up to the whiteboard and say what's up to Jacob.
Jacob, how's it going, my friend? Is that my friend Jacob in Utah?
Yes, sir.
All right, nice. I was just listening to a podcast about Utah. I like podcasts. It's kind of a new discovery for me. I was late to the party on podcasts in the world. As it turns out, there's a lot of really fun stuff to listen to, and people have been doing it for years. Kind of like cell phones. I didn't get a smartphone until just maybe I think I've had one for a total of 7 years now.
Yeah.
So
they've really perfected it. It's a mature medium now, podcasting, and so you're getting a really interesting product these days, more so than ever before, I think.
Yeah, right. Just so movies have been around a lot longer than podcasts, and there's kind of a movie in a can format, right?
Well, they've just repeated it enough to see a pattern that works.
Right.
Or at least presently it works. There's a lot of scared people in town that are worried it's not going to work much longer, but that's another subject.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Well, let's not get all depressed. Okay, so we got a simple mouth here. All right, there we go. Now here's my two lines. See, instead of a continuous, it's a great way to learn it at first to make a continuous line. That's a great way to learn it. But what ends up happening with the light and shadow, consider my black lines the shadow, is that we have one shadow that's offset from the lower. And this one will follow a lot more of the cheek as it smiles. It might go out this way more extremely as a person smiles. And then this one will form its own little shadow at the corner of the mouth as that mouth pulls. So I can make this mouth kind of smile by moving that upward. Those cheeks are where the smile occurs. This gets stretched out, but see, they're kind of on separate paths, and it becomes one simple shadow that pulls into these two. So you'll see them connected, just like you do on our list. You can look at them in the mirror and see the same thing. But when you look at Ben and I, our face, when I smile, oh, mine just merged into one.
That's a fake smile. You got to smile real, Joe. It's fake.
Yeah.
That's the. Oh, I'm totally listening and interested in what you're saying. Smile.
That's very good. Yeah. That's when you do this.
No, mashed potatoes. You're saying it was mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get the light in. You can see that you can see the second line right here. See that? That's it right there.
Yeah, I have dimples underneath this little beard.
One line, two lines. One line, two lines. Okay. It's not exactly the same on everybody, obviously, but it's really helpful to know that this exists because it lets you throw together a very believable quick person. That's where the nose goes, right there between those lines. Okay. Then the eyes, we're going to go like this. We're going to go up and over, and then we're going to go like this. Okay. What kind of eyes do we have there? Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's do that. Who's in there? There's my happy person.
They're so happy. That is the happiest person I've ever seen.
A little bit askew. Well, yeah, let's wrinkle the bottom eyelids. Let's go with that.
JL
smile.
says, this is so in-depth, it hurts my brain.
All right. So here's that top highlight. It's going to be right in here because there's a shadow that goes here. It divides it. That highlight.
Farah was digging the Moses stuff.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. I'm glad to hear that. We actually, it wouldn't be a terrible thing for me to work on that a little bit, but that's very slow progress because I'm at the tail end of it. Okay, we got a face right here.
Speaking of progress, if you guys are sketching along or if you want to take any pictures of your work, and Shoujo, you can use the link in the description of the video.
Okay, yeah, it's good call, Ben. All right, so here's what I want to show on this drawing. We've got cheekbone right here. I'm just going to put a shadow going under that cheekbone. I'm going to divide what normally would be one shape into two shapes. See, now we go back down here, go under that second. So this is that shape. You know, if we really define this a lot, we get, it's not like the most smooth childlike face. You know, it really changes the look. But this shape is at all different extremes, and it's helpful to understand. And then we have another highlight right here that comes in. So we kind of have a similar thing going on right here in this face. We have one highlight, two highlights that you'll also see on people. And that's just a real subtle shadow variation. But if you make this all solid, I don't want to hurt feelings, but it looks very similar to, no, I'm not even going to say that. We're going to avoid. We're not going to. That has potential to hurt feelings. I'm just going to say.
Answer this question instead from Mavis. Can you review the position of the top of the head to the eyes, the nose, the mouth?
Oh yeah, just go equal distance. You know, so the eyes are roughly in the middle, and so we got to go way up here for the top of the head, all the way to the top of the whiteboard. And then we want the chin to be just something similar to that. It's not exactly center. It's just something similar. So since I can only go this high, I can only go this low in order to keep it roughly in the center on this head, which is going to make for a very wide and flat kind of a head. But that's okay. We don't need to make somebody that looks especially human and natural. We're just going to go with what we've got. See, because we want that balance of the eyes being near center. You see that squished look. I was forced to do it because I couldn't go higher. Sorry. Yeah, here, let's make it go off the page. We're gonna go off the page. Okay, let's go like this. Here, we're gonna go down like this.
You're really blowing Round Brush Steve's mind right now with how amazing this person is looking.
Yeah, I'd love to see the expression on Round Brush Steve's face.
Round Brush Steve, if you could take a picture of your expression and upload it to the link in the description.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to work on with paint. I'm going to try to get shadow 1, shadow 2, and I'm going to try to get highlight 1, highlight 2. I'm going to try to control those very intentionally instead of just letting my brush do the deciding. I'm going to intentionally control those things. That'll be enough for today. You know, we'll keep it there. And then if anything else comes up in conversation, you know, we'll focus on that. Let's do some eyebrows, add some expression to that face. We've got this double shadow here. Shadow on that side, shadow on this side. We've still got that one. This is kind of a W shape. It occurs like that. Okay. Now you don't need me to find all of these shapes. You can just surf the internet looking at faces like I just did, and you can use this one as a roadmap. Use this as a simple map, not this exact picture, but this layout. Cheek, mouth, nose. See, these are just major highlight areas. It's very simplified. Now we can start dividing these into sub shapes to get a more natural look. All right, let's poke at this one a little bit just to demonstrate that. We won't spend a huge long time.
Yeah, we also have a lot of interest in your burning bush scene.
Oh, we're gonna go to that.
Feel free to pull that up and.
Okay. Let's do that burning bush thing. Let's poke at this one. Let's see what happens when we go down here and add complexity to those shapes, just so we understand on a larger, this is going to be a larger illustration, a little bit easier to see. So let's go here and take this highlight. We're going to go the higher, lighter one right here. Okay. Now we're going to put a second one that goes down here like that. That's how you place them. And then if I want this face to be more smooth, continuous, you know, it depends on the individual, then I'm not going to leave a real dark crease right here. So let's just take this one, put this in here. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3 highlights, and this is going to get divided into 2 right here. So then we're going to get a little bit darker. Let's go to a slightly darker color down here. Whoops, that's the wrong camera. Down here. Here's my slightly darker color. Let's add this in here. Put that in there and start darkening this face a little bit. Okay, we're going to do one shadow right there. Oh, needs to be darker. One shadow at the corner of the mouth. Another shadow coming off the top of the nostril. And then they can merge together. Any level of, they can be completely separated, completely merged. Most are something in between. Okay, we're going to just do a little bit of that blending like we did last week. Dragging my brush gently along the edges of my highlight area. And this is real watered down acrylic paint. See, that smooths it out. So you can see this side of the face, it's kind of maturing. You know, it's kind of aging the face a little bit in terms of skull shape.
Can we zoom in on this thing?
Oh yeah.
Detail? That would probably be awesome.
Let's do it. Sorry. My bad. Let's get a good close look at it. There we go. Okay. So I can divide that into separate shapes, and the how gradually I blend this gradient here is going to change the 3-dimensional chiseled shape. So if it very gradually changes, then the face is going to be probably more youthful looking. And if I very suddenly change it, it might look more like somebody very thin, like that last person's face we looked at. Now I'll bump that nose out a little bit with a lighter highlight. Let's go like this. We're going to bring it out further. Just a lighter color will bring something on a face out further. Real simple, like just bump it out further. 1, 2, 3. It just bumps the nose out further. It's going to dry a little dark. We'll get a little darker color on it.
You know, okay. When you say something like finding the simple and the complex, it sounds on the surface like why do that? Why care? Why does a practice like that even matter? You know, or is it just like a fancy thing to say? And so the first thing that makes me think is, what are you even trying to get at? Like, what's the point? Why pontificate about finding the simple and the complex? Why not just let the complex be complex?
Okay, so what is that one that I'm going to answer, or is that one that you got to answer queued up? I think both of us probably have an opinion on.
Yeah, that's a conversation starter. I obviously have feelings on that point. I'll go.
Yeah,
first.
I'd like to hear it.
So,
I'd like to hear it.
So the thing I'm suggesting at is the thing I'm beating around the burning bush is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You see what I did there? It's
well done.
Like there's virtue to it, and you know what, man?
What?
I think
What's
we
that?
have some technical difficulties again. But I'll keep going.
Hang on. Give me a moment there. Where'd he go? Our call. What happened to our call? Ben, are you there? Are you there? I got no me.
No.
I'm not on here. Hang on. Let's see if we can fix it. It's all right. You know, I don't think we lost your audio. Hang on. Give us a moment, folks. All right. We still got the audio. So even though the call is
what I was trying to say is
yeah, you can continue. We still got me painting on screen. You know, it's just the video on our call is glitching out. Boy, that's hard to get back on track.
Derailing, man. All right, so check this out.
Tell us what's on your mind.
I have to remember why I even cared before I start talking about it.
It's morning. We're tired. We're trying to.
All right, so Mavis is going to throw me a bone here and say, I think this is a great topic. In the past, I've focused on details and never made my painting better. When I finally started focusing on the simple shapes first and then the details.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Were a lot
Very
easier.
Good.
So
Okay.
that's a great point. And I have a okay, so I have I'm an artist that has turned art into a living, right?
Right.
So
Which does change a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the view
Understood.
through which I see things, because that's my experience. We didn't
Yeah.
have money growing up. We were broke, but we were just very curious and creative. And so I was like, I'm tired of being broke. I'm going to use curiosity and creativity to make a
Yeah.
job, right? So
Right.
I come at it from that angle, and I
Mhm.
like that it has utility. I like art to have utility as well as aesthetic. And so a statement like finding the simple in the complex, it just feels very aesthetic, but it's actually got utility. There's a reason that you want to examine this subject matter,
Yeah.
because life is complex and people's faces are complex. And if you're going to understand either your own self, or like how to create someone's face, an image of someone's
Yeah.
face,
Yeah.
you're gonna need that skill of making the complicated very simple,
Yeah.
because
Right.
that's effective. That
Yeah.
you can understand so much just through impressionism, as long as you get the shapes kind of
Yeah.
together.
I think
And
you hit the nail on the head with the good, well done impressionism taps into the simple that the complex thing is perceived from. It
yeah,
finds
otherwise
that.
it's just overwhelming. The complexity is overwhelming, and you'll never understand it. You'll never grow into it. You'll just be
You're
confused.
always starting from the beginning in your interpretation. You're never using the knowledge of your previous projects to make this one go smoother. You're always starting. Imagine if every time you wrote a letter, you had to phonetically sound out the letters of the alphabet. That's what I
Yeah,
compare it
yeah, yeah,
to.
yeah. That's a great point. Yeah, it's helpful to have just a very reductive understanding of a thing,
Yeah,
and then how into the detail you get is really how much time do you have, how much energy do you have, but you can capture a thing with very little detail.
right. Right. Yeah, I think that's well said. Okay. So you can see that I added extra red color to the nose while we were talking. I did that to make it look a little bit more like natural skin tone, just in
Hey, you're
case
doing
people
some
were
good
wondering.
blending here. So far, I like some blending you got going here, and is curious, how do you
Okay.
avoid hard lines in your painting?
That's definitely blending technique. Blending technique. So you put, and this was the previous live stream. So here's a shadow that I want to go start with the hard line. I have pre-mixed colors down here. So I'll put the shadow, then I'll grab a lighter one like this to blend it. So let's grab this one. We'll go up here, put my shadow up here, needs to be a little darker. Okay. And then I want it to get lighter as it approaches this further out segment. So here's my lighter color. I use that gentle tip of the brush, put it next to it, and then go on this line. See this line between the two colors. I do a brush stroke along that line a few times. I can only do it so many times before the paint dries. You can always take another try at it if it doesn't work out. This is something you got to get used to with acrylic paint, is that it's a game of how many times are you going to paint a spot. You always paint a spot multiple times. That's just par for the course. Okay, we'll throw in this other cheek, but I know that we are talking about that Moses, so we'll get to that. That's kind of a fun one. But I want to show how this same
So you gave that
understanding.
painting a left hook and knocked it off of the canvas.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yep, that was a problem.
Hey,
Okay,
I'm
one
gonna
shade,
I'm gonna
two
reset
shades.
this thing here, Joe, to try and fix it while you continue.
Oh yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. How are you going to reset our call? I'm the one that started it. Can you do that? Okay. All right. So let's put the shadow in here. We're gonna go like this, a little bit darker color. I'm putting a little bit of the gray in while Ben's trying to get that.
I mean,
Video.
I'm back, but
Yeah, but I'm not. Here we
you're
are,
not.
black screen. But that's okay because I got another camera on me. Well, you got your audio. It's no big deal.
That's true.
Maybe we'll just do a view switch later or something. But right now we got what we need. So we're gonna do this blending. Who was asking about the blending? Sorry, I already forgot the name. Farah. Yeah, this is for Farah here. We're going to put shadow 1. Okay, this is what we did on the other side too. Shadow 1 is up high. Shadow 2 is down low. I'm going to get that darker color that I've been using. Darker color here, down low, up high. I might be biting off more than I can chew with the number of things to blend, but we'll see. Now I'm going to drag the long point of the brush gently along the this is why I find it so helpful to know the shapes, because I know exactly where I'm going with my brush. It saves time. You know, I'm not making a bunch of decisions, not randomly crisscrossing brush strokes to try to arrive at a nice looking result, you know. So I do this. Now, as I continue to refine these shapes, I'm just doing layers of these colors thinner and thinner, because you can layer this acrylic fast drying paint too. And so you can see the shape getting more complex. I've got this one is more gentle because that shadow is thin, is narrower. See this one, it got thick. So that changes the 3D shape of the face. So that's an example of one that I'll take another shot at. I'll take this lighter section and I'll just use half of the brush, put a little bit of paint on this tip of it, and then I work my way up toward that. And this is just doing a wet on dry layering. When the colors are real similar, I just rinsed the brush too. I did that off camera. Quick sleight of hand.
Nice. Hey, welcome back, Blummer Drummer and Leslie Carter.
Okay, nice.
We're
good to have you here.
We're examining the simple shapes. To answer your question, Leslie, we are examining the simple shapes that, when put together, make big, complex things like faces.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you can see I've got somewhat crude skin on this character because of layer. These are thin layers. So this, I think this is relatively standard practices to gradually layer. So when you're trying to layer, this is intended to be the same color I put on the first time, so that I can get it smoother, more blended. But see, if I don't know what simple shapes this came from, I just kind of get lost in the complexity. Bringing it back around to your topic, Ben, why do we care about the simple shapes? Because it lets my mind quickly make decisions and navigate where I'm going with my next stage. You know, the time that you kill in trying to make decisions that you're not sure about. I mean, everybody,
oh my goodness,
any artist knows, you know. And so knowing these, you go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you got a point there, man, in a big, big way, much bigger than the subject of this video. You know, we tend to do that with the way we see ourselves too in our existence. We like to just keep it simple. We don't really want to get into the details, because as soon as you get too far into the details, you reach the end of your ability to get it at all, and it becomes anxiety inducing for many, you know. So it's a very human response to want to take the complex and simplify it, just as a means of psychological survival.
Kind of like you can't handle the truth. Is that what we're getting at?
Exactly. Well, you know, because at some point you're just like, oh, it's entirely out of my control then, isn't it? You know, and so you're just,
you know, there are personalities that do better and worse with that. I noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like for a lot of people, the response is anxiety, you know, and so they just say to themselves, well, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm just going to XYZ is what I'm going to believe in, and I don't care if it makes sense, you know.
Right. Right. Keep it simple. Yeah. And I think with that in mind, you can be a little bit less judgmental toward people, understanding that we're all trying to navigate life together, and it's not super easy. So have some understanding that you don't know what it's
human.
like.
It's a very common human thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. But in this context, I'm using this knowledge of simpler shapes to make very, very quick decisions in order to not slow progress at generating an image. I just want to generate a human looking girl. And so I need some pattern recognition to do that decently. And So I started with my simplest shapes ever, and now I'm starting to find the more complex shapes that are subcategories of those larger shapes. That's really the main point. So I'll put this shadow, we'll make it kind of like the other side. Bring that diagonal shadow under the eye. Then we'll just throw in a few things. You can see I expanded the head out a little. That's just that's just character choice. I think it's pretty common for cheekbones to go out further than they were. This one was starting to look a little non-human with how far the eyes were to the edge. As a general rule, here's a fun pattern to remember. That the eye tends to be in the middle, both tall and wide orientation. So from the top to the bottom, eye tends to be in the middle of the height. And then if you cut the face in half, eye tends to be right at the middle of the half. And so oftentimes when you're putting a face together, you can forget one of those things. If the eyes are too high, you end up with something that looks real monkey-like. If you end up with eyes too left or right, it kind of can lose its human look. I don't know the right way to describe that, but
you drift into the uncanny valley.
Yeah, which this is resembling very well, because I've now made the face wider, but the ratio of hair around the edge to the ratio of face size is a little
very
bit
quickly. You're like, wait, this mannequin looks weird.
It looks weird. Hey, this is also a good point. This is where somebody walks by your project and says, that looks weird. And you're like, yeah,
That's
it
true.
does. And then you're embarrassed and you give up. Yeah. And then embarrassment happens, and then giving up happens. Okay. So, man, I'm telling you, I've had to fight through that. I have had to fight through that so many times, because my quest is to learn, and I just can't learn if I keep stopping every time it looks weird.
Well, that's nice. I like that, because, that means that your goal is not to create and this is something we talk about all the time. So it's not news to you, but for those who are listening, Joe's goal here is not to create something beautiful and perfect and hang it on the wall and be proud of it and show the world on the internet how awesome he is at doing stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's not the goal.
It's just to figure out that new problem, that new trick, that new tool, to just be a rolling stone on his way through this messy process till he dies.
Thank you for putting that so eloquently. I want to see other people be able to use this information to do great work. There's a lot of great skill out there, and I noticed as I was studying and trying to learn in the art industry, I noticed an absence of pattern knowledge, of explanation about what are we using to do this. In every industry, there's a lot of patterns that are used. Like if you want to get into chemical engineering, you can't just do things because it's what people say. You can't just say, well, experts say that this is true. None of that matters. What matters is what's going to actually take effect and work in the laboratory. You need patterns that deliver consistent results.
And so I was stressing utility as well as aesthetic as valuable, like this statement, finding the simple and the complex, and foo-foo art stuff, and stuff that's just beautiful but not necessarily useful. It's nice if your work or if your techniques are empowering, if they like open up the ability for you to do stuff in the way you want to do it. And then
sure.
Also that your compositions have the effect on the audience that you are going for, that you're hoping for. You just want utility in your tools. Like art is.
That's right. Yeah,
very
you want
easy
it to work.
It's very easy for creators to just get like what I've referred to as navel gazing, where you kind of
like looking at belly buttons,
just staring down at your belly button,
is that really
not seeing anything else, and not seeing any other perspective, just concerned with your own work, your own thing, you know, and then not seeing why it's not working.
Ah,
You know,
okay,
so I
okay,
think
yeah.
that having an interest in the acquisition of tools,
Yeah,
you know, acquisition of technique, of fundamental understanding
yeah,
is
right.
exciting
I hear
about
you.
art, you know. Like as cool as it is to, like, I'm with the next guy. It'd be rad to get a big canvas and just throw a bunch of splatter paint at it and blow it with like a fan and maybe like,
Oh
you
yeah, that's
know,
cool. That's cool. It has a different,
get
you
some
know, there's a
spray
different
paint
intention
out,
there.
you know, or stencil work, and then just call it a day after like 10 minutes of just furious craziness on a wall and
Yeah,
say it's
yeah,
abstract,
yeah, yeah, right.
bro. It's
Yeah, it's
abstract.
abstract,
It's
but
got,
let's not make. We don't want to make fun of
you
it.
know, no, that's got aesthetic value, you know, it's got aesthetic value.
Yeah,
But like
I have a hard time appreciating it to the level. Some people want to pay a lot of money for that. That's okay, to each his own. But for me, I I have a problem putting value on things that didn't take a lot of effort. You know, like so it's just a personal hang up. I like when it looks like someone worked hard at the knowledge to do it, the process to create.
yeah,
You know,
they're exciting. It's just it wasn't particularly skillful to do, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, right.
But
Anyway,
this is not a critique on genres of art. I'm just saying that I like when the creative focus is on, is this useful toward my goal, you know, rather than just an exploring of darkness and hoping that
yeah,
what comes out of your brush is worthy of approval, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, totally. Okay, we're gonna make a we're gonna make a fun
And
fictional character here.
yeah,
Uh,
do it, man. Get some color up in that.
oh, sound effects. We need the sound effects. There. The warrior. You know, here's a fun concept. This is way off subject, but you know, once you have these simple shapes understood in the complex
Yeah.
that comes from them, you can just layer over any colors you want, and you just put the same gradient on those that you put on the original. So this, I'm going to make this purple a lighter shade of purple where it's on top of that highlight. So we're going to do a lighter shade of purple right here. Let's go a little more pink and white like this. Add some white to it. Here we go. See, there's my lighter shade. And if I add that to here, that ends up having a nice look to it because it's telling the same story. Now it wraps on the three-dimensional form of the head, you know, just with that little dot. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we sharing
Here's some
pictures.
work,
We got some stuff to look at.
yeah,
Let's
here's
look
some
at it.
work from one
Hey,
of
that looks
our,
like John's work right there.
all right.
Oh man,
John.
yeah, that's nice. Hey, that's made a lot of progress. We looked at that on a earlier live stream. Hey, beautiful work. Now
Okay,
that adds some. It looks kind of like there's a little bit of, you know, you got a whole bunch of complex. This is just what we're talking about. He has a whole bunch of those complex shapes going on the face there. So
yeah, a lot of stuff
nice.
going on in the back there too. That's cool.
Beautiful work. Yeah, and man, you've made so much progress since last we saw this. It's got to be difficult doing lifelike wrinkles. You know, that's a subject for another time. That's really well done. Yeah, let me switch to full screen here so we've got a better look. We're gonna go full screen on this thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that that's so much
All right.
better.
Well, yeah, go ahead and continue to share your guys' stuff here. We'll have a look at it.
We're gonna do spotlight. Here we'll do this and we'll get a better look. I'll switch my screen. There. Thanks for sharing this, John. That is really great work. And so you've got both things here. You have an adult, mature face. You have childlike faces. So, you know, I'd like to hear if knowing these patterns comes in handy for you in your process. You obviously are very experienced at doing this. So maybe your method has some different things involved. So
Yeah.
you know,
So John
sure.
here is saying, you know, he's working on this portraiture right now, so this episode is perfect. So he's got the challenge of not having the background take away from the portraits, getting the chroma right, so it doesn't look like a cartoon.
Right.
Is my challenge.
Okay.
So Fear of failing shut John down for 10
Yeah.
years in his art career.
You know, I had a fear of failing that shut me down for 10 years earlier. It just happened earlier in life for me. I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh,
fear of
that's
failing.
huge. Yeah. Fear of failing.
This is why I was trying to be a rock star instead of pursuing an obvious ability to do visual art. You know,
Yeah.
that's fun.
You know, I heard some advice from somebody once, and this was not from an artist. This was from a business person, but they gave me some excellent advice. And they said, in your brain, you've got this inner monologue where it's always, you know, what if this and what if that? And oh my gosh, I have to be prepared for that. Or what, you know, I have to protect myself against that. What if, what if, what if? What if so and so? What if loss? What if death? What if failure? What if, you know, catastrophe? And in your brain, if you can change that monologue from what if, yada, 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 to even if, yada, yada, yada. And then you rewrite that to even if such and such, even if death, even if failure, even if catastrophe, I will find a way through it, right? I will be okay. I will survive. I love that.
Nice.
That's so helpful as an artist, as a creator, to get over that fear of failure and that inner judgment and all of that, even if what I make is ugly.
Right.
Even
yeah, you're just gonna keep
no
going.
one likes
You're
it,
just
even if I'm rejected,
yeah.
even if I fail, I will have done it. I will be proud of myself, right? If you just
Yeah.
replace it with even if, all of a sudden your brain chemistry changes and off you go, having a great time.
Yeah. Well, you
On
know,
the
I
subject of inner
have a
fear,
real
you know?
I have a similar view on that, but here's where mine is. I think this is something that is a little different for my experiences. Is that there was a very humbling stage of life when I had to be okay with not being great and letting go, not needing to be proud of myself. Because you mentioned being proud of yourself. I totally relate to being proud of yourself, you know. But I think what I ran into was I needed I needed to be maybe thankful instead of proud, just okay with not being great, you know. And so things tended to be just a maybe a slightly different experience, you know, like well, my work really looks stupid right there, but that's okay. I'm okay with that because I've got this opportunity to learn and have fun, and I should be thankful for what I've got. You know, a little different approach. I think the reason I feel like pointing that out is because there's a strong societal push. I think I hear that catchphrase over and over. I'm proud of myself, and I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with it, and I'm not calling it wrong. I'm just saying that mentality doesn't speak to me. So,
Being proud of yourself?
yeah, it doesn't. No, I don't like being proud of
Okay.
myself. No, thankful I
Okay.
think is more powerful
Would you
than
rather be
proud.
ashamed of yourself?
Well,
You'd
is
rather be
it does
ashamed
it
of yourself.
right? That's a very good point. I'm glad you said that. But are those the only two options?
No, there's
Is
the
is it,
polar
is it
opposites,
ashamed or
you know.
proud? You know, is that all that it can be?
Well,
Is
it's,
ashamed?
you know,
Proud?
you're ever on a spectrum between the two because they're polar opposites in human feeling,
Yeah. Okay.
self-pride and self-shame.
Yeah. Okay. So what if there is a neutral ground that you can kind of remove yourself and make how proud you are irrelevant and just be thankful? What about just being thankful for yourself? You know what I mean?
Well, we're very complex, Joe. Like the title of this video, we're very
Yeah. So
complex.
I'm just posing the idea that maybe focusing on being proud it has potential to be anti-productive because your pride has a tendency to reject input. It has a tendency to do that. I'm not saying it automatically does.
Yeah, there's a need for definition clarification here. I think you're referring to ego pride, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm
and you're
like,
saying,
and I'm referring to being in alignment with your own values, like having a appreciation for yourself, gratitude for your own behavior and the way you're valuing your own well-being. You know,
Yeah,
that
I
sort
think
of
we should.
that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
that's good. Yeah, that's good. And I, yeah, and in gratitude for your, I think I really relate to that description. I'm talking about what I relate to. I'm not correcting anybody. You know, I'm talking about what I find like really speaks to me and is relatable. Where I want to be with my learning, a mindset that helps me seems to be helpful for me. I would say it's more along those lines of gratitude, but you do have a good point, Ben. In you know, there is very appropriate. I'd say there's some real appropriate use of being proud. Like I'm proud of my kids. I'm proud of my family. Um, uh, you know, there are things to be proud of. It's not like it's an excluded concept. You know,
Well, it's
so
one word that means a few different nuanced things, you know.
sure.
But yeah, speaking of like ego pride, yeah, that's the death of creativity and progress. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. I thought it'd be fun to throw in a few little gradients. We're talking about blending acrylic paint, so I thought since fire kind of caught the attention, I thought, hey, let's work on some fire. Here's an area I don't love. See this? I would like this to be a little bit brighter in comparison to the background sky. And I would like to see the transparency of that. See how it just layers over. So what I'm going to do is take orange and white. This is just orange and white paint. I'm going to take
There's a
this.
good glow coming off of that fire, man. It's got excellent glow.
Thank you. And that is a great word because I would describe the pattern I'm using as translucent glow. I'm using that same one. I've talked about it a million times. It's when you have a balance of how much more yellow it gets for the brightness change. So you get brighter, you get yellower. But if you get too yellow, then that's why I say a balance, because there's an amount of yellow to add that's kind of a sweet spot. So as I get brighter with my orange, I need to shift it toward yellow, but I'm testing the limit. I don't want to go too far. When you can see older, these were earlier flames I did, you can see areas that are distinctly more yellow than areas that I've touched up because I'm trying to find that sweet spot. And I'll have a time lapse video of this whole painting out soon. And you can see when I first put this whole burning bush together, it was very yellow. And I kind of overdid that pattern. I went back and kind of recalibrated the level of color change. So that's that translucent glow. I would call
I
this
think
the
we're on your I
translucent
think
glow.
we're on your color palette here, Joe.
Whoops, my bad. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the translucent glow. So here I added a little more white to my orange in order to see the outline of my rocks behind that flame. So this is going to give me some transparency. Now I'm going to do some very delicate blending here. Watch, I'll take this purple right here. Let's do purple and let's get blue because I want to get that sky color. And I'm going to use a similar technique that I did with the face to get these flames. And we'll grab a little bit. I'll get this color mixed first. What I just put on is probably going to dry before I get to it. We'll do a blue purple. Throw some orange in it. This color will be good for darkening that. I want to move it toward the sky color. And this should really help me to make that flame look very soft, transparent, and floaty, you know? How's that for some scientific words?
Sounded super scientific.
Yeah. Okay, rinse my brush so I can get a nice bright orange. Okay, now we're back to the bright orange. We'll go over here to my orange spot, mix a real bright orange. Okay, we go up to canvas. We're going to put both colors in place. Here's color one. Okay, small area so that I have time to blend it all. Now here's color two. We grab just a little bit of this with the little point of the brush. Now I'm going to drag it right on that edge I just created. Just drag it along. It's too dark of a color to match the sky. It's not going to match the sky, but when it mixes with this orange, it's going to create a darker line. See how it softens that edge? Zoop. Right there. You see that little bit of gradient is what I'm after. Now I'll do the same thing on the inside. Very gentle touch on that paint that's on its way to drying. There we go. That's what I want for that. To me, this is a much nicer end result than if I use a wet on dry thin layer. Wet on dry is a great technique. You know, it works. You can make a whole great looking painting, but I like this better. I like that the wet on wet blended look is just something I like better. Okay, now here's where a little bit of knowledge about light comes in handy. We lose color saturation when, let's say, a blue light, which is the sky behind this flame. This is a bluish color, kind of a gray blue colored light. And it's mixing some percentage with orange firelight. Orange and blue make a very gray result, a less saturated result. So this result needs to be less saturated than my color that's just the fire, because this has a dark shadow not contributing light. So you might make the mistake when trying to represent light of choosing too gray of a dark color, but watch how good it looks when I really boost up the saturation level. Let's just take pure orange on this right here, pure orange. And I'm going to make the outline of that rock. A great way to darken an orange is by adding purple pigment paint to it, just a true purple paint. Look, that all by itself has a great look, doesn't it? But it's going to dry darker. It's going to dry a little darker. We're going to put, this is just a little bit of pure purple. That's this color right here. It's a very dark purple. I'm going to take that and darken the middle of this, just so it has that kind of bubble-like shape to it. Just a tiny bit of that darker color. But I don't want to get darker than my background. This is a problem, is that my background still has a little bit of lightness. So I will need to add a touch of white. We got to lighten that a little, because I can't have my flame being an overall darker result than the shadow behind. So we got to lighten it. So there's some white to lighten it. Okay, now I've got the silhouette of my rock passing through the flame right here. Oh, there. That's it. That's where I'm going to stop, because, you know, this flame is contributing so much orange. Well, now I do have a problem here still with inconsistency. These are kind of pinkish colored flames. I don't know if I want to redo these or redo that, but I kind of want them to be similar colors. So for the sake of time, we'll adjust that to be more like, we'll add a little bit of white to this so it kind of matches these flames around it here. Let's add a little bit of white to it. Not too much, though. We got to go easy on the white. Go easy on that. Put it right there. Here we go. There. Now it matches better. Okay. You see,
let's
so
zoom
now
out a little bit and have a look at the fire more completely, just to digest what we're seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what we're doing. We're piecing this together little by little, just using a pattern of edges and gradients. I did the exact same process for this bigger one. A lot of trial and error with
the whole ridge
shapes. Yeah, this is how I wanted the silhouette of my hill to pass through it. So this is where I use my understanding of what colors of light do when they combine. When you have one light behind another light, they're transparent, so you see both. So I need to use that understanding to get a lifelike, translucent, transparent look. All right, that's a little rundown on the fire strategy here. I'm happy to answer questions too. So then on this face, let's zoom in on Moses. Get back to the face concept. All right, my final, here's something you'll appreciate. Here's where I'm struggling. I completely fabricated the posture, the face. Everything is just using the patterns I've learned. This, sometimes can come back and bite you when you're really going for a lifelike look. I feel like the twist of his posture, it was worse. I brought this out, I want it looking like he's twisting while crouching down, and it just looks very blocky. You know what I mean? Looks kind of stiff and blocky. And I'm combating that You know what I mean, Ben? Are you seeing that?
Stiff blockiness.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a little
Well,
plastic figure that you just.
Let's tilt the camera a little bit so that we get a nice balanced look at them first.
My bad. Is that better?
And then we'll feel the posture a little better there.
Yeah. I'll tell you something fun about posture while we're at it. This is yeah. I mean, I am genuinely struggling with just how to get this look. I need him twisting, bending over, and I want a sense of like motion to it. So I've been tinkering. You can see the colors don't match here because I've been tinkering a lot with this area to try to get that feel that he's twisting and bending over. So just so you know, that I do regularly struggle with these things, do a lot of trial and error to try to figure out what I'm missing. But here's something fun about posture. This I think you'll find really helpful in your own work. If we go back to the
There's
whiteboard.
some discussion about his right leg.
Oh, let's look at it. Where were we talking?
Where's his right leg?
That would be his right leg under the cloak. Yeah, so I'm imagining the knee. So what am I missing here? I'm imagining his hip right under the belt, somewhat straightened out, coming forward a little, like you're crouched down on your knee. You already took off
like
the right
maybe it
shoe.
come more forward is a suggestion.
Okay. You think closer to the foot? What's the maybe shifted this way instead of going out this way? Like maybe
Marcy suggests bringing the knee forward to beside the shoe.
I like that idea. I like that. That might be just what
is also feeling like the right leg is kind of missing. And Jacob says they would add some final lighter areas bouncing the firelight off of Moses so that there's more focus on him as well as the fire.
Okay. I like this. I like this concept of moving that. I want to try what you're saying about the leg. I want to take advantage of this feedback while it's fresh on my mind. Okay. I'm going to lighten that to bring it forward, to really bring that out. So let's say we bring that forward and then maybe we lighten the cloak. Let's bring this leg down like this. You see, this is really helpful to me. Fresh eyes on a painting is tremendously helpful. My, earlier in my, let's say in my career, but I don't think that's the right word, but earlier in my journey as an artist trying to learn things, this would have been more threatening to admit that other people could see something that I was missing. But this is where I don't need to feel. I guess this is what I was trying to get at is I don't want to need to feel proud of myself. I want to just be able to be like thankful that some viewers can instinctively look at it and say, it kind of looks like that right leg is off. That's really helpful to me. Okay. That it's crude, but I'm trying to get the feel of that leg coming forward more. Here, let's get it a little bit further this way, ever so slightly that way. Yeah. Nice.
So John is saying that they would need a model and props to get this anatomy right. Making it up out of their head is what's threatening.
Yeah, that's that. And it's not.
I see you even now, you're kind of trying to like consider it geometrically and in a three-dimensional space in your head, like if it's coming forward,
it is like. And I do that because this is my position, this is my job that I've chosen for myself is trying to learn these patterns so that I can articulate them and share my findings on how these patterns work. It's not because it's always necessary to doing nice artwork. So I would never say that John should be implementing this practice. No, this is me choosing to, trying to master a very specific process in art, which is like the whole pattern recognition part. I wonder if I kind of curved this, what if I curved this part of the cloak coming over. Let's add a little bit of my dark purple. We'll just settle for crude lines on this.
Round Brush Steve thinks it'd be nice if I posed for you, Joe, with some upper thigh.
Upper thigh, that'd be great. And shepherd's cloak, the whole.
Yeah. Let me go get my my bathrobe on and my upper thigh ready for you all. Stand by.
Yeah. It's what this is a Christmas pageant garb, you know. This is what you got to pull out the costume for your
painting. Round Brush Steve.
Hey, I don't feel like you're taking this serious enough. This is my masterpiece, and you're not taking it seriously. Okay, I need you to be much more dramatic and serious when you look at my work, and find lots and lots of deep meaning in it. Okay, what do we think? Does that fit? It doesn't even look like a leg is the problem. That's the problem I'm running into now. It doesn't even feel like a leg at the moment. We're gonna let that dry.
Well, maybe you should just squat down on the floor real quick, Joe, and just see what your legs would do.
Let's get a darker shadow. We need a good gradient in there. It's got to be darker up here. This got too light as I was going high. You know, we need that gradient that brings the knee out further like this. Gradients are super powerful tools. A gradient is so much more powerful than a sudden line of value changes. There, we'll let that dry. You know what? I really think you're onto something with that. I think if I make this consistent, if I get a line here that's more consistent, the cloak also needs to resemble the wrapping around. I'm seeing that those that pointed this out really have a good point. So I'm going to work on that without killing all the time on our show. I really appreciate that input. That's very good. I didn't think of that. You're changing that leg. All right, so I want to go up to the space. Here, let's kind of wrap it up here. Oh, I like that. I'm looking at it in the small view of the camera now. And I like that. I already like it better. Seeing that knee pop forward a bit is yeah, that's going the right direction. That's good. Okay, let's look at this space. Let me get a good shot here. Sounds like we might have lost Ben.
Well,
you're sharing. Ben is sharing the screen. Okay.
Oh no!
Sorry, we've got.
No, I'm not.
Oh. All right. There's our face. This is not a huge face, you know. So I've got to squeeze all these shapes, and you can see it compared to my brush. It's not real huge, and so I had to think about color here.
His arm look hairy, and his beard look hairy.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, it all looks much better from a distance. I try to zoom out as distance.
Yeah. And why, Joe? Why do you think it looks better from a distance?
Because we see the larger, simpler patterns.
Exactly. Yeah. It forces the complex into a more simple presentation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so here you can see I've got my two shapes. I've got that divided shadow going down, dividing the upper lower cheek. And then, I tried to be real careful with how bright all of this. So I went real slow, tried to, because, human recognition, I could make this whole thing the size of my little fingernail and we would still recognize these shapes. So this is small for my paintbrush, but it's definitely not small for our eyes. We pick up on all these patterns just so clearly. So I'm feeling my way through that. I was trying to get a very ethnic look. I want that Israeli look to it. So if anybody is Israeli out there and wants to tell me modifications that might happen here, then I'm open to that.
And Marcy loves the surprise shock look you captured here.
Thank you for that. I tried to ever so slightly include a little bit of orange in the eyeballs, like the glow of the ground kind of bouncing off of those a little bit. I wonder if it'd look good if we did just a little more. I'm going to try it. Let's give it a whirl, see what happens.
For that leg, Round Brush Steve was suggesting you get a lot of light intensity and brightness in that front leg to bring it forward.
But maybe he's talking about the leg that is where he's still taking off the shoe. Maybe he's talking about, let's zoom out.
I don't know, that round brush always talking about something.
Yeah. Yes, that is a challenge too, because I need the darkness of the. I want skin pigment. I don't want it to look like this character is overly white, because this is a Middle Eastern man in the desert, and so, so that that was a tricky thing, trying to get just the right color. So I can't brighten it too much, or I can't have it as bright as the fire itself. Really trying to balance that. Maybe round brush Steve's pointing at that leg. That I think that was a good improvement, getting that leg to come out into the foreground, that lower one. Okay, let's zoom back into that face. All right, here we go. So we've got that face. I had to do gradients, to get the look of the hair, all the same stuff I did on that big one. And I just did it small. And, I think I've landed, I think this is where I'm going to call it finished. I'm just, I guess I'm just taking advantage of the extra sets of eyes out there. I'm open to any input on this, because I actually want to offer prints of this for sale eventually, this picture. So I really want it to look nice. I'm taking extra time on this one. It's not just a research project. I want it to be an extra nice finished piece. Yeah, and then the lips, here's an interesting thing, trying to get the look of red lips, except you can't use red because that'll look completely wrong. Trying to get just the right shade. So you know what I used for that red? I used this, orange and purple. Was the color I used to put a shadow on those lips.
It's funny, you just said you didn't use red, and then you say you use orange and purple, which are both 50% red.
That's it. So this actually is technically a shade of red. That's right. Okay, orange red and purple. Yeah, and any red pigment fails to be 100% true red, because you can always find some red light that's more intense.
Dirty plum, Marcy calls it.
Yeah, that's it. What it is it's just a low intensity red. There's an important understanding with colors. You see, that's too intense for that area. It kind of makes it look like he bit his lip.
He's got a cold sore.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Let's see, we got it.
So we can fix that real quick just by taking down the saturation of it here. Let's what was that color? Here's the purple. Let's go a little more purple and a tiny bit of white, because the purple is the darker color. So I can darken it with the purple, lighten it with the white, arrive at the same darkness, but not quite as red. That's the goal anyway. I chose very purple tones because we got the blue light of the night sky, shining on somewhat reddish skin tone. So that makes a gray purple. There we go. Oh, I don't think that was a good move. Bad move there. Ugh. Hang on. We got to pull out the eraser. I just made his lower lip bald. It needs to be the opposite. Hang on. Okay. Let's do that. We need the bald spots.
You got any recommendations for some pure orange pigmented paint, Joe, where someone could find it?
Yeah, a lot of paint, you can go to a paint store, look behind the counter and look at all their tint machines and see if they've got one that is just an orange, because that's what this is. This is maybe similar to a darker cadmium orange. If you just order a cadmium orange in a tube, there's different ones. See, this one says cadmium orange hue. Some of them will say medium and light and dark. There's different shades of it. This one doesn't specify. So you can see this one's a lot lighter. But either way, this orange will be more intense than what you'll get if you mix yellow and red. This orange pigment, and that typically is the case. A pigment tends to be more intense than your creation of that pigment with two primaries. It's not always true. just true a whole bunch of the time. So your primaries tend to be your most intense, and I definitely cannot mix an orange this intense. I can't do it. I've tried. So this one is a little darker. It just came straight out of the tint machine at a paint store, just making wall paints, and I just said, I just want that color all by itself, maxed out in a ultra deep base. A deep base, that's the paint that doesn't have a milky white color to it before it's tinted.
You got a preference on paint store?
That one I got from that one specifically was from California Paints. That was just a local chain. So no, I don't. The answer is no. Short answer, no preference. Here, let's make a. I just go in and look because each town has its own. And then even if you do get a favorite, they change. Paint formulas, the technology is always changing. And so it's better just to understand how the paint is made and just see what the best local options are. And that's why I put a lot of material in the FAQ section of my website, also on YouTube videos. If you just look up Mural Joe, what paint to use, that's one that you helped at it, Ben.
Thanks for the thumbs up, Marcy, for smashing that like button.
Smashing the.
It makes me feel bad just saying it. I don't like smashing the like button.
This says you feel like such a sellout
for a few reasons.
Yeah,
it feels
you're
gross,
selling
like
out to the church.
Canker sore on Moses's lower lip.
Oh man, we might be a little bit too intense on the color. Let's add brown. Let's see what happens. Let's try this brown. Yeah, it's good. What do you think?
Jacob's asking, so because a deep base does not have the milky white base, does that mean there's less color shift when it dries?
Well, no, it probably will make even more of a color shift, to be honest, because a kind of Elmer's glue dries clear, but when it's wet, it is white, and paint is similar to that. So what happens is it dries and that milky white dries out of it. And then you even find when you just add pure water to something that it really lightens it. And my theory is just that process of lightening that process of adding water separates pigment particles, and they come closer together and concentrate as it dehydrates. That's my theory. I'm not claiming to know, but it seems that any color other than white is going to gain saturation and darkness as it dries. Seems like that's the pattern. Okay, what do you think now, Ben? How's my balance looking of skin color, shadow? I was trying to get that little bit of a greater amount of hair in the middle. That little bit of
that looks like a nasty, huge beard from somebody that lived in a time where shaving was totes not a thing.
Yeah,
it would have been weird. Would have been weird for a grown man to be walking around with baby smooth face.
Yeah, why is he going to do that? Yeah,
beard. I like it.
Okay, nice. I like it. Beards are not terribly out of style these days,
Man, you don't even want to know how much bacteria is in the average male beard.
I don't even care about that because I believe I was made to have bacteria regularly interacting with me, so I don't even care about that. I don't see bacteria as dirty.
That's true. Touche. Bring on the bacteria. We got little things crawling in and out of the pores on our foreheads. Little animals, passengers hanging out in your skin.
It's an issue of perspective. If you there's one narrative where you're taught to view pharmaceuticals as the solution. There's another view where you value nature and its ways more. There's different views on that. I tend to be more on the learning all the great mysteries of nature, how things work well.
Yep. It's pretty complex, Joe, isn't it?
It is. It's a way to bring it back around, brother.
Pretty complex. Hey, it's after 10 o'clock local
We gotta
time,
quit. We gotta quit. Okay.
which means we are running out of time.
So that was fun. You know, I felt like we did a good demonstration, right? We did a good rundown on an approach. It's really trying to highlight an approach, using that same approach with the finding the, you know, we started with some real basic. Anybody watching from this point, you know, you could back up two live streams ago. We started this phase. Could have been three. Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And it's the most basic of
We-
shapes, and
we,
then we find the more
successfully
complex
made no
inside.
turbo itchy.
Yeah. Say that again. I didn't hear you.
We successfully made no turbo itchy.
Oh, yeah. We got like a big old burlap sack on top of a hairy man.
Yeah.
No,
Pretty awesome face stuff going on. Purple face stuff. That was cool.
yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. That's it. You know, let's
Yeah, the glow of that fire,
Mhm.
especially the middle top part, the like brightest part,
yeah.
is really nice. Like it's
I'm gonna change my layout here. Auto. Push. Man, my camera's glitching out. I'm sorry. I was gonna say goodbye with the two of us on screen, but I'm not there, so it's not working.
well, it's a glitchy kind of day, you know.
Yeah. We've had our share. Yeah, no problem.
All right, and
No big deal.
that's all
So,
right. Can
where
you?
you say you were
can you-
talking about? You keep
Just
talking
wanted
at
to
the
wrap
same
up
time.
things here, Joe, with
All right, we're sharing.
a little gift here.
Whoa, look at that. That's a good one. Now that's good.
A little gift here.
Okay. Add in your happy little burning bush. Whoa.
I believe this
Whoa.
is.
Did you generate that during the course of this live stream? I feel like you did that.
I didn't make this, but this is Joe in a Bob Ross beard.
I see that.
I think it's Round Brush Steve. Yeah, it's Round Brush Steve. It's Round Brush.
Man,
Steve.
that is really well done. Look at that. That looks like my face. That really does look like my face in a Bob Ross costume. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Incredible.
Man, you did that fast, buddy.
Sick, bro. Sick.
Add in your happy little burning bush. Yeah. Indeed.
That's it. All right. It doesn't
Happy
get any
little
better than that,
burning
guys.
bush. Okay. All right, we got to say goodbye. We've been jibber jabbering quite a while.
All right. Take us
So
home.
I think you know what I'm going to try to do. I think I'm going to try to edit. I'm going to try to take all these videos, kind of edit them down into one thing, because we covered a lot of. I think there were valuable key moments in this series of looking at a face, but with a whole lot of ridiculous content in between. What do you think, Ben? Maybe I'll try to condense it down into one video. Put that up later. So
Hey, we got a happy crowd out there, Joe. So
sweet. Thanks. I can see. I'm looking to my right on the computer screen here. I do see a stream of comments. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for being here,
Technical
Marcy.
difficulties happen.
Tara,
We got an
Mavis,
understanding audience
Jacob.
here. Whatever, man.
It's
We
live.
got out
It's
there
live.
and we learned to swim today, Joe. We
Yeah.
learned to swim.
Yeah, we got a bad connection on the Google Meet. Okay, we got that. At least we got good view here. Okay, enough of that. It's time to go. Enjoy your Saturday, everybody. It was really fun. And next time we're going to move away from faces. We've been spending a long time on faces because I thought it was valuable content. But send suggestions my way. I'd love to hear what kind of content we should cover in this live format. You know, this is the slow, messy, casual format so that we cannot be pressured into delivering content. More my style. More my style here. Take the
Get
pressure
into
off.
it, man. Get into it.
Yeah. Okay. It's fun hanging out. All right. See you later, everybody. This was a lot of fun.